How is it going, everybody? My name is DeMarco, and today I get to bring to you some of the most exciting Starfield news I possibly can, which is a breath of fresh air, especially since it seems as though as of late, it's been issue over here, problem over there, not so great this. But now, finally, we have some really great news. I get to bring it full circle because not only is Starfield receiving the finishing touches as we speak, you heard me right, we also can narrow down the release date to an accurate window because it's been revealed in some capacity when Starfield's going to be coming out. So we might be able to nail down a release date for Starfield. We're going to be getting into all of this, but first let's rewind the clocks a bit because it's been a bit of a tenuous journey for Starfield and for us following the game pretty closely. First, you have Phil Spencer, who goes off. He visits Bethesda Studios, gets a little bit of tour of Starfield, some of the gameplay, gets to see a little bit of Redfall, some there, and then he walks out with boom! Both games delayed. A lot of us left scratching our heads. Lone Vault Wanderer, former employee of Bethesda, wondering what the hell happened, genuinely shocked because every single thing, even the marketing that we saw with those Into the Starfield videos leading up and building towards the summer reveal, and on top of that, a November 11th release date. And suddenly the game's delayed. What could possibly be going wrong, we're all thinking? What's happening? Around that same time, Heavy008 leaks, a former confirmed Bethesda employee, leaks on Reset Era that the flight mechanics aren't as great as he would have hoped. They don't feel that great. The engine improvements aren't as great as the developers were hoping for. So we see this, a little bit more struggle. Now the nerves start building. We get a little bit nervous. However, now we hear that the development is receiving the finishing touches. In a quote during a Microsoft Xbox media briefing ahead of the Xbox Bethesda Showcase, Todd Howard took to what I assume was some kind of stage, maybe took the podium, something to state, quote, "We're putting the finishing touches on Starfield, which is an incredible opportunity for us." Now, we'll discuss what he might mean by that incredible opportunity. I have my thoughts and speculation on it. But furthermore, Phil Spencer, who we know has faith in Starfield, he's talked about how he wants it to be the most played Bethesda game. He's expressed how excited he is to show people this game before. He also took to a little bit to comment on this, saying that Starfield is going to be a hallmark for the ZeniMax Media Xbox relationship. And that is pretty big. It brings me back to some of those comments that we've been hearing about how Starfield is the biggest, most epic RPG, sci-fi RPG of all time. Pete Hines saying that this is great and awesome in all the best Bethesda Game Studios ways, right? All those comments that we've been hearing almost on repeat since they've said them. Phil Spencer's faith in this game puts faith in me, plain and simple. And I do really think that Starfield is going to be something special from Bethesda, for sure. But as for that unique opportunity, if they really genuinely are putting on the finishing touches, it means we might see very well, I'm not guaranteeing this, but it might mean that we're going to get the most polished Bethesda release we have gotten in a very long time. Does that mean it's going to release perfect? Absolutely not. There's still going to be bugs. In fact, when you get to this stage of QA and polish where maybe you start seeing some crunch, which we'll talk a little bit about, they have a hierarchy in terms of things that need to get fixed. And on the top of that list are things that won't cause problems, which usually end up being smaller, easier to squash bugs. And on the bottom of that list are issues that if you try to fix them, they already know is going to cause problems in 2, 3, 4 other places somewhere else in the build. That can be risky to try to do when you're in this tight window of time. They're not in as tight of a window if they're in the polishing stages, 100% polish now. Does it mean hopefully a polished release? Yes. Does it also mean ideally for the employees, they won't see as much crunch? I certainly hope so. I really do hope that they can take the time that they need. They can experience the work-life balance. Some crunch, sure. It's unfortunate, but it's a part of the industry. Can it be weeded out completely? Maybe at some point, but with big, massive AAA games like this, it's pretty hard to do, especially with creative projects in general. The goal is to minimize it as much as possible, and hopefully that's part of this incredible opportunity as well, to not have to crunch their employees. In addition, we also can narrow down the Starfield release date pretty accurately into a solid window after an image was revealed online where they were trying to promote Game Pass. Of course, it's always Game Pass. Their Xbox is trying to put it out. They had a deal, 1 month for $14.99, which actually wasn't a deal, but somewhere they said you can play brand new games like Starfield off on the side. And then with a little asterisk. What does that asterisk mean, you might be wondering? Well, Starfield is expected in early 2023 because as a legal disclaimer, they're not allowed to say that you can play games like Starfield if it's not out yet. And therefore, we know when Starfield is probably coming. If publicly, it's been stated that Starfield's for the first half of 2023. This advertisement says the early 2023. You do the math, you take the average, and you're looking at a March release for Starfield. While they're not committed to anything, and it is worth mentioning, I have to say that it's expected early 2023. That doesn't mean that it's going to guarantee it. In fact, maybe we get another one of these things where Phil Spencer goes up, checks out the game, turns around and says, no, let's just push it to May or June, right? To the second half of the first half of 2023. Might see something like that. It's entirely possible. But what I will say is I have full confidence. Again, it's just reinforced by what we talked about earlier with the finishing touches happening on Starfield. In addition, it doesn't end there because I know a lot of people have been doubting whether or not we'll see official lengthy bits of Starfield gameplay at the Xbox Bethesda Showcase. But I mentioned in my video where I did my predictions, I mentioned how Starfield was always meant for a summer reveal, A. And B, Starfield has been playable, fully playable since 2021, which means they're still working on mechanics up until this day, of course, but it's been fully playable. Therefore, they can capture the footage to show us this extended reveal. And if the finishing touches are all that's left for Starfield's development, you can absolutely bet your bottom dollar that Starfield can very well have its full 10-minute gameplay showcase, exactly what Bethesda was planning. I know some people will still argue and say, but they need to stretch out their marketing of the game. Yeah, they do. They need to push it and generate hype and stuff, but I do admittedly think that you can still have the same level of excitement and the same level of promotion if you give fans what they're honestly looking for at this showcase, which is to see what the hell Starfield plays like, what it looks like, what are the features, what can you do, what can't you do, everything that we've been wondering for the past, gosh, I guess you put it back to 2018, right? The past 4 years, they can answer a lot of those questions, and they can capture the footage. The game's basically done, and I think, if anything else, this proves more than before, more than ever, that it will be there in all of its beautiful sci-fi glory. One of the last questions remaining is whether or not we'll actually get the release date when it comes to the reveal at the Xbox Bethesda Showcase in a couple days. And admittedly, before in my speculation video that I released, I had said no, I think they might hold off. But hearing this, that Starfield is almost done, I would say probably, and my guess is going to be 3/3/2023. Makes the most sense. It still plays into this game that Bethesda likes to play with the numbers, and of course, as we've heard in the past, it helps with the marketing. You don't have to change the dates when you're doing it across different countries, which is kind of pretty smart actually on their end. 3/3/2023. I'm putting my money down there. We'll see how right I am in just a couple days, but before we do, let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below, how you feel about all of this. Are you guys excited? Do you still think that we'll only get a small trailer? Do you think we'll see the extended gameplay at the Xbox Bethesda Showcase? I really want to know what you guys are thinking on all of this. Don't just let me speak into the voice. So thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I hope to see you all next time.